Welcome everyone to Fantasy Six Packs, DraftKings Cash Game Show. I am your host, Keith Flemming, joined, which I keep bringing this up, Joe, because it's wild, for the sixth year doing this show, my good friend, Joe the Brain Matz. Joseph, I don't want to jinx it, but 2 straight weeks that both the Giants and Falcons played, we both got W's.
Well, not 2 straight weeks for the Giants.
No, but 2 straight weeks that we both played. I'm saying.
Although we
because
both
were
played
on
because you had a bye. That's
the
right.
week you lost to the Saints. So that's I think why y'all lost was we weren't playing.
Yeah, we needed you guys as our partners in victory.
So just absolutely wild. I went to the game Monday night. Buffalo. Wow, y'all really travel. I mean, there was probably 25% of the fans were Buffalo fans, very loud before the game. Not quite as loud after it, but that's okay. But just awesome experience. I actually sat in the Falcons nest, which I've never done. That is the basically rabid fan section. It was awesome. We stood up the entire game, which I loved. For me, I have so much nervous energy. It was perfect. And just honestly shocked. I went into that game not expecting to win.
Mm-hmm.
We did, which was great. We also had another good week with our cash game plays, with one huge exception. I apologize for the Quinshawn Jukins play him in every lineup, speech. I did not think about playing Pittsburgh on the road with the Steelers coming off a bye, rookie quarterback making his second start, and, Gabriel throwing it 52 times, took Jukins off the field a bunch. But fear not, I will be going back to the well, as we will talk about that when we get to running backs, because they are facing the defense that just keeps giving against running backs, the Miami Dolphins. But let's not delay this. Let's get right into it and talk QBs. This is one of, this year I think there's been a lot of value playing guys further down the list. No further example than Jacoby Brissett being part of the Millie Maker last week.
Sure.
Fucking gross. But this week, there's one game that I am considering quarterbacks from. I either want Jaden Daniels or I want Dak Prescott. They're in a dome. The Cowboys are that great team that they both score a bunch of points and can't stop anybody. They're averaging right under 30 points per game, giving up over 30 points per game. Daniels returned from his injury a couple of weeks ago, scored, 23.9 points in their matchup on Monday night. And it was even more impressive when you consider McLaurin was out. Debo was, I guess technically he was there, but if you look at the stat sheet, that was not the case. And that is why I feel good this week, even though McLaurin already ruled out. Debo may be trending towards not playing as well, but you have to have full confidence in Daniels against a Cowboys defense that they give up more points per game just through the air than any fantasy defense currently, and over 20 points per game, I'd like to add. And then they've also had issues with running quarterbacks, allowing 25 rushing yards or more in 4 of their 6 games. Daniels is averaging almost 4.5 points per game just with his legs. This is despite he has not scored a rushing touchdown yet this season. So one of our favorite words, right? There's a good chance for progression in that sense. And I would be shocked if he does not have a big game, because again, the great thing is Washington's defense is really bad right now, particularly against the pass, facing a Dallas team that, the passing game looked incredible. And then, oh, by the way, they get this guy CeeDee Lamb back, who's pretty good to go along with George Pickens and Jake Ferguson.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, DVOA, like we said, the Cowboys are just a slam play across the board. They and the Dolphins still at the bottom there. They are 31st against the pass in DVOA, 29th against the run. So again,
they're getting a little better.
like, feel free to fire up literally anyone who suits up for Washington. And then PFF coverage grade, 29th Dallas. Who's dead last? It's the Washington Commanders.
Oh, Diggs is out too, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like, didn't they rule Diggs
he is.
out?
Yeah, he got concussed at home, apparently.
It happens.
So,
he was talking back to his wife. She gave him the whoosh.
So, yeah, both of those, fire them up. You want to, any combinations could potentially work here. So, all in on both of those. But there are some lower ones that I'm intrigued by.
Yeah, let's give me some, because for cash this week, I think I'm going to stick to those two, only because there's really only two super expensive guys I'm considering. I really like the value of guys in like that $5 to $6K range at receiver, tight end, running back. Right. So I can spend on a QB this week, but I would love to hear them, so that way maybe if I want to go with the lineup with JT and CeeDee Lamb and get jiggy with it. Who you got?
Right. Start a little. Well, obviously, I'm just going to keep going to the well. Drake May. The concern here would be, Tennessee hasn't been terrible. They've actually been per some fantasy.
I looked at this in my
good,
article, Joe, that they haven't really played any quarterbacks, and the ones they have did very well against them.
And they're usually losing, obviously, so that's going to skew the totals towards running versus passing. But yeah, this is a mediocre pass defense. Drake May, again, the one time that New England really just blew someone out this year was Carolina. He threw 17 passes. He finished with 23 fantasy points.
He's so good.
So when you're playing as efficiently as he is, and post week one, again, QB rating's not the greatest stat in the world, but over 100 QB rating every week since week one.
Only the fourth QB, Joe, to have 5 straight games of 200 plus passing yards, over 100 passer rating, 23 years or younger. And again, that list is pretty good. Mahomes, Marino, and then show some respect to Dak Prescott. Dak is the other guy on that list.
I mean, I always do. It's everyone.
No, I know. I just mean in general. Obviously, I know you do, Joe. And you're a Giants fan, so that's saying something.
Right. Like, I've seen him beat us a million times. So, yeah, Drake, 4 of the last 5, multiple passing touchdowns. And again, that includes games where he threw 17, 23, and 26 passes. So ridiculous. The volume doesn't have to be there, and he can still be super productive. And obviously, he's also capable of running. And then, again, revenge game for Vrabel. So,
ooh,
I think,
maybe he runs it up a little bit, you're saying?
Right. Could we see this end up being like 38-13? I would not be surprised. Going a little bit further down, Caleb Williams, 5,800 against New Orleans. I mean, the whole thing with Caleb Williams is, does he get pressured? His touchdown per attempt percentage is 27th when pressured. It's 8th in the league when he isn't.
Wow.
New Orleans, 32nd in pass rush grade per PFF. Their DVOA splits, they're 27th against the pass, 9th against the run, so they're a pass funnel defense. And then, it's not the head coach wanting revenge, but the defensive coordinator for the Bears, Dennis Allen, he was the Saints coach the last couple seasons. So it's another one where at least someone in the building might want to run up the score. So don't be afraid of that. Spencer Rattler at 4,800.
Oh, Joe getting jiggy with it. I hear you, brother.
Again, do you feel way less safe with Spencer Rattler than every other guy we've just named? Of course you do. But the thing with Rattler is, we haven't seen the huge high ceiling game that we maybe would have wanted. He has one 20-point game on the season. But he's never gone single digits. And you look at a lot of those other guys in that under 5K range, single-digit numbers are all over the place. Cam Ward is averaging 8.6. Dylan Gabriel,
has he earned a chance to be their franchise quarterback, in your opinion? Because I've been impressed with the way he looks.
I mean, I wouldn't say lock him in, obviously, considering where they'll probably be drafting as well. But I think you're definitely taking a serious look at it. Like, if he actually plays better down the stretch than he has thus far, then yeah, unless you end up in a situation where you're picking one or two and there's some quarterback that you're all in on, I would feel okay about it. This is also a guy. It's not like he's some under the radar, no one had heard of him dude who's just kind of like
good
made his
in college.
Way. He was, I'm pretty sure, a 5-star recruit. He was supposed to be the next big thing, and then it never quite happened. And the thing that people always worried about was, oh, this is he's always forcing the ball. He has 1 interception on the season.
Yeah, he's been like very good at protecting the ball. Uncle Ted wanted to add Stroud out of bye. Have no problem with that, but we do just the main slate. Uncle Ted, right. So he's not eligible for ours, but I don't hate that.
No.
You got anything else you want to add on Rattler?
That Bears defense, again, Dennis Allen might be super motivated to get the win this week, and he did coach Rattler last year, so maybe he knows some weaknesses, but that Bears defense has not been very good against the pass. So that would be the other thing to consider. And then Bryce Young against the Jets, because that is also I'm
think
a little
the Rico
worried.
Dotto train's going to stop? Is that what you're saying?
Based on what this Jets defense has done so far this year, I would expect it to slow down. Because again,
but is that from the Carolina coaches for reasons only they would understand, giving the ball back to Chuba Hubbard at least 50% of the time?
I don't know if we'll see 50-50. To me, if I'm coaching, Dowdle's going to get the majority. But we also just paid Chuba. We obviously think he's good. And the last year plus, he's been good. So I'd say at best, you're probably seeing a 2-1 Dowdle split. But again, we want to look for those funnels. The Jets this year, 4th against the run in DVOA, 30th against the pass.
Wow, that's good.
This has been a defense that gets shredded by the pass. They make it hard to run. There's, I think, let me count it up because it's in front of me right now. Yeah, there's 5 teams that rank 20 spots better against the run than the pass. So these are the defenses that they make it hard for you to run. They've been awful against the pass. It's the Jets. It's the Patriots, interestingly enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Saints. So again, Caleb Williams.
Hello, Caleb.
It's the Panthers, which if you want to ride that Justin Fields train.
Nah, I'm going to get off this week. I'm going to get off this week.
I believe Garrett Wilson's not playing, or at least I think he's doubtful.
No, he's doubtful. Like they say, he's pretty much out.
So I don't, as much as Fields values the running
and he
ability,
could run for like 200 yards with that, right? With Garrett Wilson being out, that could be the huge field. I can't risk it.
Yeah,
I'd rather pay for Daniels,
talk myself into
right?
It.
Like I'd rather just pay for Daniels and live with the consistency.
And then the last one is the Cleveland Browns. Although they can obviously get after you in the pass rush, but their coverage has not been great. That D-line, though, they're the number 1 DVOA run defense.
Yeah, they've been so good.
So that's another one to look out for.
Not to mention, by the way, 30 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts predicted for the Carolina-Miami game. I just want to real quick.
So never mind then. No, Carolina. Wait, who did you just say? Because it's not Carolina-Miami. It's Cleveland-Miami, right?
Miami. Thank you, Joe.
Cleveland-Miami. So, that's why Dylan Gabriel is not anywhere near where
I do want to just...
If I'm going cheap, it's Rattler.
Expand on Prescott because he's just on a heater, right? 23.4 points per game over his last 3, 10 touchdowns in that span. Both Ferguson and Pickens caught 19 passes and caught 4 touchdown receptions in the same time frame. And not, again, that they needed any help, but they're getting it with CeeDee Lamb coming back. And that's just a terrifying prospect for like opposing defenses because, obviously it was going to take some time for him to get acclimated with Pickens, right? And I think Lamb being out for this period, now Dallas knows what Pickens excels at. And Lamb is so good at everything that I think that they can really work out, like both of those guys being a threat. And this is a Washington secondary, 235 yards per game through the air, 8.2 yards per attempt, and 9 touchdowns allowed. And again, the other thing I like is there's some real weather games this week. in a dome, right? Like that is
Mm-hmm.
as good as it gets. And I just have a feeling with it being kind of the 4 o'clock standalone game, Dallas is obviously going to score because they do that every week, but I think Jane Daniels again and prove that even without my guys, I can hang 30, 40 points on this defense. So you can convince me just about any guy from either team.
Yes.
And I'm like, of the main guys, I should say, of the main guys.
Right,
I'm sorry.
sure.
I don't
Although
want
if they're
Jaden
cheap
Blue.
enough and you want to
Yeah, but
take
I don't want
not
Jaden
Jaden
Blue.
Blue. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, not cheap.
Not
Sit
the
down.
like second, third string running backs.
No.
let's
The
not go
receivers
into
for
that.
Washington, I'm with you, like the cheap ones.
Right. Throw them in there.
Let's get to the running backs. I think they're fascinating this week. JT, to me, again, because of how many guys I like in that 5-6K range, despite his absurd price tag of 8,800.
Right.
I mean, dude, 27.6 points or more on DK in 4 of 6, 31 points
good.
or more in 3 of his last 5. He scored 7 rushing touchdowns in just the last 4 games. And then what I really love, especially for DK, he's seeing consistent volume in the passing game, which is something we have not been able to rely on Jonathan Taylor throughout his career. He's caught multiple passes every game this season, 3+ receptions in 5 games. And this is a Chargers D that they started the season really well versus running backs, but just in the last 2 weeks, Joseph, Devin Achane and our boy Bill Merritt,
That's right.
300 yards on 36 touches and 4 touchdowns. And now you're telling me I get Jonathan Taylor when, by the way, the Chargers offense is struggling because of the offensive line issues. So if the Colts get a lead, we know what the recipe is going to be. Let's pound the rock with JT. I think he is going to be the one guy over 8K that I play in a majority of my cash game lineups.
Yeah, I'm with you. Again, talking about those pass versus run funnels, no one has a larger gap in favor of wanting to run against them based on ranking in DVOA than the Chargers. They're 8th against the pass. They're 26th against the run. Second level in open field yardage per FTN, they are 27th. So basically, if you get past, the actual defensive line, you get into the open field, the defense has been terrible.
And the way Jonathan Taylor's running, I think that's probably going to happen a few times.
And again, you have an elite offensive line, so that obviously increases your chances of getting to that second and third levels. So yeah, if we're just trying to find that guy that we're going to spend a shit ton of money on this week. Again, and it's a crazy price because normally you and I, we see 8,800 and we're kind of like, I don't think it's happening this week. I think I'm out. He's going. I don't know if he's going in like what percentage it'll turn out to be because of that price tag, but it's going to be as much. Probably, I'll put him more lineups than anyone who costs 8,500 plus this entire season.
Ooh, I like that. I mean, again, he's running back 2 right now, and I do. I just think he's about as safe as you can get for a guy at that price tag. Now, Joe, after Taylor, there's only 2 other backs I'm recommending for cash this week. They're 6K and 5,900. Is there any guys in between Taylor and that range that you want to highlight?
Well, if you're saying 6K and 5,900, then yeah, give me Krosky Merritt at 6,100.
Oh, sorry, I have his price wrong. So it is.
Okay, I was going to say, if you're not taking him, then please.
Yeah. Go ahead though.
Again,
that's who.
I mean, like I said, Dallas 20 again, awful against the pass, but also awful against the run. This is the defense that gives to everyone everywhere. Then Krosky Merritt, the whole thing has been that first month of the year was like, come on, give us the carries, give us the targets. We want him out there. And did we see it point wise last week against Chicago? No, he only
the volume
finishes
was
with
there.
6.8. But yeah, I don't care long term. The 17 carries is the exciting thing.
34 touches the last 2 weeks, Joe, for 218 yards. 34 touches. That's huge.
Right. And if that second fumble had been his fault, maybe I'd be concerned, but the ball is slipping out of Daniel's hands and he just chucked it into his chest. So that was not his fault, because that's the only thing that I think is slowing Krosky Merritt down in this game is if he fumbles and they're like, you know what, you've been too loose with the ball, we're going to go with one of the other guys, because outside of that, he is clearly, it's not even close, the best running back on this team.
Per PFF, he's like the best running back in football, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I forgot to check this week, but it was like him and Scatterbo have basically just been like rotating at the top, I think with like Josh Jacobs.
That's amazing.
For the highest graded running backs. And it's also crazy too, because when you think about, this was a hyped up running back class. But these were not the guys who were getting hyped up.
You're right. I didn't even know who JCM was until, honestly, like he got drafted and some of the hype. I think Kevin Tompkins was the first guy that goes, you need to pay attention to this dude. And again, Dallas, 142 yards per game on the ground, to Joe's point. They've already allowed 6 rushing touchdowns. And you would assume, right, like that Washington without McLaurin, potentially without Debo, gonna lean on the run a little bit more, right? Like, also, what is the easiest way to slow down an elite passing offense or just offense in general? Keep the ball away from them. I think you're going to see a lot of Daniels and Big Bill.
I think so. And Cowboys, again, we mentioned, I said 29th in coverage grade, dead last in run defense grade for PFF. And it's not close. Like,
which is crazy with what Miami's doing.
Do the math real quick here.
Crazy with what Miami's doing.
The difference between them and the Ravens, who are 30th, is this, or 31st, is the same as the difference between the Ravens and the Patriots, who are 17th.
Oh my God.
In run defense grade. So that's how bad, according to PFF, that's how bad their run defense has been. So again, why would you not put Krosky Merritt in your lineup? And then the one other expensive guy I would mention real quick.
Yeah.
Although I'm not putting him in my lineup if I'm putting Taylor in my lineup, because that's too much money, would be Josh Jacobs, assuming he is a full go.
Yep.
Because the Cardinals run defense,
real bad,
29th against the run per PFF. So that's also a one.
Are the Dolphins 30th, or am I missing something there?
Wait, let me go back. I just switched tabs, of course.
Sorry.
No, you're good. No, the Dolphins are a not quite as bad 25th.
Which is, again, where DVOA is confusing to me, because if
that one's PFF. Because let me pull up DVOA. I think DVOA might be.
The DVOA is what I'm really curious about, because they're giving up like 170 yards
28th.
per game. Yeah, at 6 yards per carry. And they, again, Ramondre Stevenson, 100 yards. Kamani Vidal was cut by the Chargers, brought back, and has never done anything significant in a game. Just throws out 100, rushing yard day.
Exactly.
Like, that's kind of where Miami is. And with the Jacobs thing, the other thing, right, is we'd have to assume, or what happens when we assume, but I expect Green Bay to be leading in that game. When they lead, they pound the rock. I think he has at least 19 carries in every game this season.
Let's see. Who are we talking about? Jenkins, right?
Jacobs. No, I'm talking about Jacobs.
Oh, Jacobs. Sorry. Okay, I didn't know, because we switched to Miami.
Sorry, that's my bad. Yeah. I was talking about that they would be up against Arizona. And
Jacobs has had at least 16 carries in every game. But, obviously the last 2 times he suited up, the Dallas and Cincinnati games, went extremely well for him. And again, also a guy who fully capable of catching the ball. 14 receptions.
It's been the big deal for him as well.
The last 3 weeks.
Like Jonathan Taylor, getting free points on top of just, the volume as a rusher.
And then, the thing is, too, he's questionable because of an illness, which always, to me, like, I'd rather the guy be questionable because of an illness.
Right, than have, like, a sprained ankle
a hamstring and be like, oh, no.
Nope,
like, if this could
100% would.
So, yeah, if he's a go, I'm assuming he's going to be pretty much normal Josh Jacobs, which has been awesome. So, yeah, if you're not going Taylor, if you're like, 8,800 is a little too much, then save that 1K, go down to Jacobs. Again, I would not be doing HN. Obviously, the receptions are always potential there, but
especially with the wind. Like, that's one thing I was considering.
Maybe
you
it's
get
a dump
15
off.
targets, like with Tyreek Hill not being there, but to me, it's too risky against Cleveland's rush defense.
Against Cleveland's run defense, that's going to be a no for me at that price tag. So I assume now the next guy you're going to talk about is
Jukins. Yeah, again, I apologize for last week. It sucks. I whiffed. It's on me, especially, again, in hindsight, just like thinking about the situation. But it's not his fault that last week went awful. It was just the game script got away from them. But he has been really good in all the other games. And I'm hopeful, despite him playing Miami, which, again, is just a treasure trove for running backs. Maybe his ownership's a little down from that, especially with his snap share going down. People may not understand that he doesn't, play a lot of passing, like, third down, shotgun type, play. So I just, again, think it's a slam dunk when he is facing a run defense that gives up 167 yards per game, 5.6 yards per carry. And then, oh, by the way, again, expected forecast, rain and 30 to 50 mile an hour winds. And if you've watched this young man run, he runs angry, Joe, right? And I have a feeling this is the exact kind of game that he's going to be just loving, having his opportunity to just run. So I think Cleveland also has a pretty good run blocking offensive line. And as we've discussed, Miami is just they're atrocious, versus the run. It's just pathetic. And I think you pointed out last week they're bad near the line of scrimmage stopping the run. They're bad in the intermediate part of the field stopping the run, and they're bad on the back end stopping the run, which is just a recipe for success for a guy who both gains positive yards on, almost every carry and also has that breakaway run rate that is pretty impressive as well.
Yeah. According to Jake Seeley of The Athletic, there are 3 teams this season that are in the bottom 5 in yards before contact and yards after contact against the run, and it's the Dolphins, Bears, and Bills. So another
Bijan
reason
might have a little something to do with that.
To love this one. Yeah. That's obviously a game that that shows up pretty heavily in the box score. And then, if you wanted to roll the dice on one of those Saints guys, I think the hard part is I just don't know what the splits are ever with them.
I can't trust them, man.
That's how I feel, where the matchup is good, but the way it's gone the last couple of weeks, it's been a little too evenly split to feel good enough to put either in my lineup. But the matchup is good. And then same thing with the Patriots. If you want to try and again, they're going to probably be in command that entire game. They're going to be.
I don't think though that it's a question of which one. If you trust Ramondre Stevenson, which I have a hard time doing, he's the play because I want this Henderson thing to work. He's on like all my best ball teams. I still am holding on in several leagues, holding out hope that he'll figure it out. And let me tell you right now, it's not looking good. Like Gibson is done for the year. Really hasn't seen an increase in his snap percentages. Stevenson fumbles on a regularity. Still has not really increased his usage and snap percentages. And if that's not going to do it, I don't really know what will.
Yeah. I'm still hoping that at some point we're going to see more Travion and it's going to be what we all dreamed. But in part because, I forget, I should have pulled up the offensive stats because I remember I read on the main DVOA post this week on FTN that the Patriots are top 5 in passing DVOA and bottom 5 in rushing DVOA offensively.
Yes.
Which again is a sign of how fucking good Drake May has been. That he's got no run game and he's playing this incredible. But if you want the Patriots to be good and not just entirely on the back of Drake May, that run game has to get figured out to some level, and it just hasn't so far. And maybe this is the opportunity potentially. They'll probably have 2.5 quarters, just pound the ball if they want to. But yeah, it just hasn't worked so far, which is part of the reason why every single week I'm in on Drake May, and we never talk about the Patriots running backs.
Well, that and they stink.
Right.
So can we move on to the wide receivers?
Let's do it. Wide receivers.
All right. I think this is a really kind of tough week overall for wide receivers because I know a lot of very smart people, including Dave Eddy, is just like CeeDee Lamb's back, full bore, let's go. I'd rather play Pickens. I
think I would too.
I get the return of Lamb, but again, 19 receptions, 4 touchdowns, the last 4. And yes, there will be a decrease in volume. It's just that's the way it works when you add somebody like CeeDee Lamb, who's a target hog. Right. But I just want to remind people, the last game they played together, the last full game, Pickens saw 9 targets. In the last game, of course, Lamb left pretty early in that game, so that doesn't really count. But sure. And there should be plenty of opportunities, because I just want to let you know how bad Washington has been in the last month. Just to wide receivers, they have allowed 53 receptions for 670 yards and 6 scores. Just the last 4 games. And now they get to try to stop CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, and a Dak Prescott who is, I think it's 80% of his pass attempts are on target. It's over 60%, or I think, what is the stat, like highly accurate targets. So good luck. Like, I think Pickens, you're saving a couple hundred. There's not the question of like, is he truly 100%? And I still think teams are going to want to take away Lamb first, opening up opportunities for Pickens.
Yeah, and then the other thing too is Washington tends to play more man defense than zone. So yeah, they're 10th this season in man rate versus 27th versus zone. Again, I assume, in case there's anyone who's bothered by the fact that they're 10th and 27th, they're like, how does that math check out? PFF has 92% of Washington's coverages this year divided between man and zone. So there's 8% where you're kind of getting like, all right, maybe this is a combo, some sort of
the hybrid, like where you get the corners playing man and then the rest is.
So that explains why that because I know if I was listening to a podcast, I'm like, what the fuck? The 10th and 27th.
Do you know how math works? Like, what are we going to say next? That things are 600% marked down?
So I will say both guys, probably not surprisingly, because when you see man defense, you just go, oh, throw it to my guys. Both guys' target rates jump significantly.
Ooh, I like that.
But so far, Pickens is 27% against man target rate. Lamb is 35%. So both massive target rates.
Hello.
But fantasy points per route run, Pickens jumps from 0.45 to 0.7. So his is jumping humongous. Lamb's jumps 0.37 to 0.53. Again, you can throw in whoever you want and you will feel good. There's a good chance.
What was it? 0.45 to what, Joe?
To 0.7. So that's a huge jump. You know, he's top 15 in fantasy points per route run against man. So he's been good in general, but he has been elite against man defense. And again, Lamb, like I said, his points per route run, not as high, still very good. His target rate, higher. So if you want to just be full bore CeeDee Lamb, I'm not going to fight you
like the double stack. Because you could do it in that game, running it back very reasonably with, like, say, JCM and say Luke McCaffrey, or you can go Zach Ertz. I was going to say,
definitely throw JCM if you're doing that, 100%. But, yeah, if you could do both potentially, I think you probably want one of them at least. But I'm with you. If I have to pick, I'm going to go with the guy who's been on fire lately and is not, I don't know how, is Lamb going to be right off the bat normal CeeDee Lamb? He might be. But in case, let's take the guy who's $200 less, who's been even more efficient against man defense this season.
And what did I tell you, Joe, on the phone this weekend? Pickens has already eclipsed his career high in a season for receiving touchdowns. We are 6 games into the season, and he's already scored more touchdowns in the season than he did in any year in Pittsburgh. That is insane.
That is insane.
Who else you like here this week? Because, I mean, I know there's a guy in that mid 5K range that we're both like, he's in every lineup, but.
So before we get down there, no surprise here. Another guy that I've been consistently on. And I don't know, maybe I'll turn out to be totally wrong because the Jets won't score any points and this will end up being a 13-10 game.
Little Tet.
But again, like I said, this Jets defense has been so much better against the run. They've been awful against the pass. And also a defense that loves to run man. And what does T-Mac do? He destroys man. Again, I just talked about the Pickens jump and the CeeDee Lamb jumps. It's like, oh, those were good. Target rate, 18.6 versus zone, 39% against man for Tataroa. Yards or points per route run, 0.27 to 0.79. So he's basically tripling his points per route run against man. He's averaging just under 4 yards per route run against man this season. So again, I'm hoping people get scared off. They see.
Don't you think Coker and Sanders returning will only help him as well because now there's actually other options in the passing game?
Yeah, I would think so because you can't just be like, all right, we're going to put a safety over the top. And again, last week was the first time he scored a touchdown all season. He ended up with a season low 29 yards. It didn't matter because he scored twice. So, but the T-Mac game we're waiting for is the game where he gets the 6 receptions, he gets the 80, hopefully 100 yards, and we're also getting the score because we haven't seen the full combo yet. And against the Jets, I know it's going to be like, oh, it's Sauce Gardner, blah, blah, blah. This defense hasn't stopped people. So,
yeah, I keep saying, Joe, we got to give up on the Jets defense from a few years ago because last year they were awful. This year they're awful. Like, that's a fact.
100%.
We need to look up, though. I do want to make sure with the weather in Cleveland that we're not getting a similar thing in the Meadowlands because, it's, again, we're talking about potentially 30 to 50
What I'm seeing right now, well, I guess I looked up New York City because I'm a fool because they play in New Jersey. But in New York City, it's supposed to be 70 degrees with 13-mile-an-hour winds.
Oh, okay, cool. So, that's awesome. I wonder why it's so bad in Cleveland. Like, I don't get how that can be.
I feel like that's just Ohio this time of year. It's just you're not allowed to have good weather.
Well, that's fair. I mean, if you are home for the Buckeyes, you deserve it. So, like, are you with me that you have to play a Chargers receiver this week?
It's hard not to.
Again, we're talking about bad secondaries. The Colts, by the way, they've allowed 45 receptions to wide receivers in just their last 3 games and 7 touchdowns this season. But again, I'm maybe going against the grain that even with the returning QJ, even with him being $100 more, I prefer Ladd. And it's for a couple of reasons. One, Ladd is ramping up, and we saw this last year where he started really slow and then he got it going. He scored in 2 straight. But the even bigger thing is Joe Alt is going to be out again. So they're missing both of their tackles. Herbert has not had as much time. And the ADOTs of these 2 guys, Ladd 8.2, QJ 12.4. Obviously, it's easier to throw these shorter passes with a bad offensive line. So I like Ladd slightly more, especially with him having seen 5 of his 6 red zone targets in just the last couple of games. You think I'm crazy? Would you rather have QJ? Because if you do, I want you to tell me so you can maybe try to convince me otherwise.
My lean would also be Lad
Okay.
this season. When you look at the man-zone splits, there's nothing that's truly standing out. Colts have leaned a little more towards man, which, if anything, is just probably a steer towards the two of them over Keenan Allen. The other thing is, FTN looking at wide receiver ones, which I'll be honest, I actually don't know exactly how they quantify wide receiver ones, but
that's a good question.
Which something I should do research on. But the Colts this year against wide receiver ones, which I'm assuming most wide receiver ones, again, I should probably also just check who they've played, are probably not going to be in the slot a ton. They're probably going to be on the outside more often because that's, obviously you have your Amon-Ra St. Browns and stuff, but
right.
Most elite number ones, not
CeeDee Lamb is another example of a guy that's in the slot a lot, but overall, you're right.
Right. The Colts have given up the least amount of yardage in the NFL to number one wide receivers.
Wow.
32 yards. Now, number two wide receivers, they're giving up 73.5. Only the Giants give up more. So yay, the Giants. But so the Colts have been much worse against number twos than number ones. And if I was qualifying someone as the number one wide receiver on the Chargers this year, I'm definitely going to say it's Quentin Johnston based on when he's been on the field. So I wouldn't say it's like, because I don't know exactly how they quantify that, I'm not going to say I'm like all in. It's 100%. It's McConkey, steer clear, Johnston. But yeah, I'm with you.
The injury concerns me too, right? Like, doesn't that always scare you when a guy is, he just missed a game? I always worry, like, he could re-aggravate it early, or he's not 100%. And again, like, Indy scores points is the other thing.
Right.
I just talked about how much they struggle versus the run as of late. And, the Colts are one of those offenses. You can pretty much sign them up for 28 points every week. So I think that's really good for Ladd. I'm assuming we are 100% in agreement about my next guy, who is my most owned dude this week. Thank the gods, Rashee Rice, 5,600. He is back. Again, no snap restriction. We've already heard that from the Chiefs. That's music to my ears as somebody who's waited 6 weeks to play him in so many fantasy leagues. Mahomes is playing great this season. He's, again, the highest passer rating since 2022. Ironically, last year, Tyreek Hill was there. The highest ADOT since, average depth of his pass attempts since 2018. Kansas City leads the NFL in passes over expectation. It's essentially became their run game. And then I think because it's been so long, and I get that, like, he got hurt so early last year, people forget what this dude did as a rookie, okay? As a rookie, he was top 10 among wide receiver receptions, target rate, red zone targets, design targets, yards per route run, and touchdowns.
So all the stuff.
Yeah, and then, oh, by the way, in the 3 games he did play last year, 24 receptions, 288 yards, and 2 scores, and he's facing a Raiders D that is 21st in DVOA versus the pass. Like, this is just lock it in, because I promise you Rice is going to be more expensive next week, like, considerably.
Yeah, I think that would be the main thing here, is just, like you said, there's a million stats to back up that Rashee Rice is the guy in this offense now. And then, you're facing a Raiders team which has, not been putting up much resistance to anything. And yeah, I think Kansas City is just obviously they've already kind of gotten it rolling recently, but I feel like that they're not going to hold back. They're like, all right, he's good to go. Let's rev this thing up. Let's see exactly what we've got going. So, and like you said, the price here
is unreal.
Yeah, like you look. When I look at where people have him ranked that I trust, again, he's in that George Pickens, Rome Odunze range.
Again, people were okay taking him in the 6th round, knowing he was going to only play like 60% of the games this season. And I was one of those guys. It was like, sign me up every time I could get him in the 5th or 6th round.
And then obviously, who knows how, this is probably not very predictive at all. Because the last time he played the Raiders was 2023. But both games he played against the Raiders that year, which, again, coaching staff has changed, but the defensive coordinator has not since then. It's still Patrick Graham.
Mm-hmm.
He had 22 targets in those 2 games.
Whew.
Over 10 in each, or 10 and 12. So, yeah, I'm with you. Like, if we get burned here, okay. I mean, it's
I'm okay
56.
with it.
That's not the end of the world. Considering, what Mahomes looks like right now, which is he looks like Patrick Mahomes. And now you're giving him the best weapon he has. All right, yeah, sign me up for that combination.
100%. Who else you got this week? Because there's a couple other guys I got that I want to mention, but go ahead, Joe. Where the board's yours.
I mean, again, if you're gonna throw in my Rattler play, then it's got to be Chris Olave.
Yep,
I mean, 21 targets the last 2 games, and 5 of the 6 games this year, double-digit targets. Now, the problem is he hasn't always been going downfield. If you look at his average yards per reception, those first 5 games, they're all under 10, which is yeah, it's not at all what we want. But finally, we saw him open it up. He got a 53-yarder last week.
Great catch, by the way. Holy smokes.
I mean, I feel like people, because of the concussion problems that he's had and then the quarterback problems that he's had to deal with, people forget how good Chris Olave is. Like, this was a guy early on. It was like Olave, Garrett Wilson, Drake London. It was a real debate about who is the best player among those 3.
And I told you, I was really wrong about him because of his slight build. I just did not think that he would be able to be he was a legit number 1.
Right, which is the thing I was also not sure about.
Yeah.
Because, I thought he'd be good. I was never bust. Because he's a good route runner. He's got good hands. He'll be good. But, I wasn't sure he could be a legit number 1. And he was. And hopefully, the offense continues to open up. Again, Rattler's in his 2nd season, but he's also in his 1st season in this offense.
Yep.
Under Kellen Moore. So you hope that as time progresses, he progresses, things open up, Olave gets to show off everything he can do. And again, I think the Bears are going to put up a shit ton of points in this game, which means you're not going to be able to just do a bunch of dump offs to the running backs. Yeah. So I definitely
the Saints have been competitive. So if you think the Bears are going to score a lot of points, that probably means the Saints are going to score, right? A lot of points because they've had a pretty tough schedule and they've hung with a lot of teams.
Yeah, they've been surprised. I mean, obviously they beat my Giants. So I'm certainly not going to.
But that was only because of Scadaboo's gloves.
That's right. He didn't have his gloves. That was the whole problem.
It's amazing seeing him blame him.
We had the game otherwise.
And I love it.
Oh, did you want to go next or do you?
Yeah, sure. Jordan Addison. This is one of those where what is DK doing? 5,100. I want to remind you, this dude's played 6 quarters this season because he's a knucklehead. There's no doubt about that. He missed the first half for disciplinary reasons. But despite only playing 6 quarters, 33.5 points on DK, 14 targets, 9 receptions. I will add the caveat that if J.J. McCarthy is back, probably not playing him in cash. I feel so much better about this with Carson Wentz, who is not afraid to take real shots down the field. But this is a great matchup because, again, some of these pass defenses in recent weeks, the Eagles in the last month, 53 receptions for over 600 yards. I mean, they're getting burnt. And I know some people are really pumped about Jordan Mason this week. We did not mention him in the running backs. I just can't trust him with their offensive line right now. And I think that because theirs is the interior, right? That's what is just decimated by injuries is the interior. That typically affects the running backs, more than it does the quarterbacks. And we've seen it with Wentz. He gonna keep slinging. So my goal actually would be, if Wentz plays, is let's see Philly get up. Let's see Barkley have that game that we've been waiting for. If you drafted him this year, which I didn't, but if you did, we've been waiting for.
Right.
And then let's let Jefferson and Addison eat. The difference is Jefferson's very expensive. And if I'm going to play Jefferson, I'd rather play Lamb. I'd rather play Pickens. But Addison, on the other hand, way down there. And again, it's another game inside a dome when we got some, funky weather games.
Yeah, no, that makes a shit ton of sense to me. If you're doing Drake May, I like getting a receiver in there. I'd almost wish that Diggs wasn't going to play, because then I could just go all in on Kayshon Boutte, who just when I was kind of like, all right, it's just all Diggs all the time.
Just now. When I was out, you pulled me back in.
Then, he goes 5 for 5, 93 yards, 2 scores.
I told a buddy to drop him, Joe.
Oh, no.
Heading into last week. I mean, he had done nothing. He had got 4
No,
targets,
I don't
in the
blame you.
previous
That's
3
just
weeks.
The timing sucks.
And I just felt so bad because, I had to, share the news to Ricky because he comes over on Sunday and watches football, usually around halftime of the first game. And, I immediately had to go, Ricky, I've got some bad news. He goes, what's that? I go, the guy I told you to drop? He goes, the guy that I couldn't pronounce his name? I was like, yeah, Boutte. He's already got 90 yards and a touchdown. And, of course, he added a second one.
Which, I mean, it's just the way it goes, right? Sometimes
it is, but it's tough when you're the one going, drop them. And I can't remember who I told him to pick them up, but needless to say, they did nothing.
But, it's like last week, I end up in the league that we're both in. I end up being, I think you were the 3rd highest scorer of the week. I was the 2nd highest scorer, and naturally I was playing the highest scorer of the week. And one of the reasons I lost was I've been riding with Josh Downs in because we have 2 flex spots. So I've been like, all right. Well, no, I didn't play him. He finally had a good game.
Oh, that's right. But did he get hurt at the end of that game? Wow, because he's out now this week.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then maybe he did. But he had his best game of the season, and meanwhile, I had Troy Franklin scoring 3 points. So that was the difference there. Which Downs has been my guy, and finally, I'm like, you know what, I can't do it this week.
Damn you, Scuba Steve. Yep, I got you.
But and DVOA, so this is kind of accounting for how efficient are you with the targets you get, or in this case, because we're talking about the defense, how inefficient are you at stopping it? Titans dead last against wide receiver number 1s in DVOA.
Oh, so you're saying maybe
that's the Diggs argument. But obviously, if he was out and then I had Boutte at $1,000 cheaper, and I was like, he's the number 1, then he'd be going into every single lineup that I have.
Diggs is really reasonably priced, though, and I think it's another one of those deals where
he's going to be in some.
Because of last week, his ownership's going to be down, and everything we said last week, right, is still true. Not to mention, do not ignore the fact that he had a 51-yard reception overturned for one of the weakest offensive pass interferences you'll ever see. And that completely changes, right? His stat line, the way everybody feels about him this week. So I think that's a very good point to point out. What Commanders receiver do you want? Because I can't trust Debo this week. I just can't. After what we saw last week.
Good question.
Luke McCaffrey, 4,100. But whoever it is, right? He's the one that sticks out to me. This is a deal where Dallas gives up the most, fantasy points to wide receivers. They give up the most fantasy points to a lot of positions, but to wide receivers.
Yeah.
And McCaffrey scored in 3 of his last 4. So if you're telling me that, especially if Debo's out, I mean, either him or Moore is going to have a great matchup, especially with, we know Diggs is out.
Mm-hmm.
I do like McCaffrey at 4,100. That's where I'm leaning, just because he's scored touchdowns in 3 or 4. He's getting red zone targets, etc.
So, Keith, obviously we know Dallas, number 1 zone coverage rate. So who would be your guess as to who's been the best receiver on Washington against zone coverage?
Ertz?
Oh, I don't have the tight end numbers.
Oh,
so
I'm
maybe
sorry.
It is
Yeah, I had
only
to
have
go
the wide
off
receiver
board.
numbers.
Way to go, Keith. Who is it?
It's Luke McCaffrey.
Oh,
Now his target rate is still behind a lot of these other guys, so that would be the one worrying thing. But his 0.67 fantasy points per route run, and actually his number against man is actually even higher, but it's the distance between him and everyone else on this team is not even close. Tay Martin is second, and Tay Martin's not even a guy who plays a lot. So
who?
Exactly. He has 10 routes run against zone. So he's like the 6th wide receiver. So yeah, I mean, you go Chris Moore's at 0.12. So he's been awful against zone coverage. His target rate is 10%. So yeah, you look at these other guys, he's been the best. PFF says second among 141 qualifying wide receivers in fantasy points per route run against zone. Because normally, if you're really good, your man number shoots up. Again, like we talked about earlier. T-Mac, destroying mans. You'll have the guys with huge man numbers. Zone numbers, and also because teams play more zone, it's going to even out the numbers over the long term. So 0.67 is a monster number. And even though his target rate is 15% against zone, 4,100, I don't really care.
And in Dallas running zone, like 80% of the time or something?
84% of the time. They run man 8% of the time. So it's all zone all the time. And they're not good at it, as we know. And Trayvon Diggs is out, which, he wouldn't be covering McCaffrey anyway. But, yeah, it's all good things. Another guy in that 4,000 range who probably is going to go in even more of my lineups than Chris Olave is Rashid Shaheed.
Ooh.
Now, he's only had the one monster game. Of course, it came against my Giants because he blew past everyone for an 87-yard touchdown. And so that's, that I'll admit that isn't going to be inflating this number because we were in man coverage on that play. But he goes from 0.27 to 0.65 fantasy points per route run against man. And probably even more importantly, because it's not over dependent on one play messing things up, his target rate goes from 14 to 35%.
Woo!
And the Bears run man the second most in the NFL at 41.5%. So again, I think that Bears Saints game is like a sneaky could be shootout game. And he's a guy where you can make a bet on that and it doesn't cost you anything if we're wrong about it. Because again, he's down in that mid 4K range. So yeah, I think you could fire him up, fire McCaffrey up, and that's going to put you in a good place to save money. The other guys that I'd say I'd have some interest in, except in cash, I just don't know if I can pull the trigger, would be the Broncos guys against the Giants. Now, Courtland Sutton, I think you could feel better about because he's the man on that team.
Well,
but again,
I agree, but it's so hit or miss with him, right?
Right.
Like he's had some games where he gets no targets and it doesn't really make any sense.
And real opportunity for this to be, his bounce back game against a Giants team that,
it's cooked.
It's so hit and miss. Like I talk about how shitty we are against the run, and we're still by metrics one of the worst teams against the run, worse against the run than against the pass. But after the first 2 carries, awesome against Saquon. And then, I don't think we didn't really shut down AJ Brown. For us, we did good, but for what's happened this season with that Eagles passing game, it's not been that good. But the Giants, though, the real opportunity, 89 yards per game to wide receiver 2s. So unsurprisingly, that's dead last. And the other thing too, what do we run? A lot of man, third and man coverage. What happens with Franklin? Fantasy points per route run more than doubles against man. Target rate jumps from 17 to 29. And he doesn't cost you anything. Marvin Mims, another guy, his target rate, his fantasy points per route run also skyrocket, although we have been not horrific against number 3 wide receivers. So I would probably go Franklin also because he's been more consistent in being involved in the offense. He only cost you 3,900. Although, like I said, I just lost the weekly fantasy game, season-long fantasy game, because I went with Troy Franklin over Josh Downs. So I keep waiting for that Franklin.
It's a
breakout
tough
game.
selection, isn't it, when that happens to you? I understand it.
Of course, if it's going to happen, it probably happens against my Giants just to hurt me. So Troy Franklin,
especially if you leave him out, right? Like that's even the double whammy.
So if you're going under 4K, that's probably where I'm going. But yeah, the cheap guy that I think you have to put in is McCaffrey at 4,100.
Love it. All right, let's get to these questions before we get to tight end.
Yeah.
Our boy Juan, who again always is hanging out with us, we appreciate that. He needs a wide receiver 1 and 2 and a flex spot. Whew. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you, buddy, I already know the answer to this, and it's the first 3 names on your sheet. I can't sit Lamb.
Does he not have running backs? What is this receiver lineup?
I can't sit JSN. I just can't.
100%.
Like it's a wide receiver 1, 2, and flex. I'm playing those 3. As for the tight end, Atlanta has been really good versus the pass this year. So like I'm gonna have to go Kelsey. I can't roll out that, even if Purdy is back. Travis just wanted to say, and I again don't have I like these guys too. My concern about Johnston is again just that average depth. I don't know if Herbert's going to have time. Maybe they adjust it, right? And he's running more shorter routes, but Ladd just does. That's why I like him slightly more. But again, either way, Chargers have a great opportunity to get the pass going. And then he asked, who would you drop off of this bench? He's got Gainwell, Knight. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm bringing it up for you, Joe. Gainwell, Knight, Henderson, Charbonnet, Boudier, or Burden. I would drop Knight. I don't think that he's gonna I don't see it. Like we saw this last week, Carter was still involved.
Well, and DeMarcado got hurt too, which obviously maybe he's already on the outs because of the biggest brain fart of the season. But I guess one of them, because we've had 2 guys do that this year already.
A.D. Mitchell in the doghouse.
Everybody watched Chad Powers and decided to emulate him from that first episode. But I just don't think we don't really know what the true hierarchy is in that Cardinals rushing game because DeMarcado got hurt, and then eventually, some of those other guys are going to come back. So, because Henderson again, the high draft pick, Charbonnet is an injury away from being a borderline RB1.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, those, and then Gainwell has been heavily involved all year. So. Yeah, I'm sticking with the rest of those guys. It's got to be Bam Knight for me.
Also, just Jaylen Warren gets banged up a lot, so I would want to hold on because we know Gainwell will get huge usage. We saw happen
and be productive when he gets that opportunity. Yep. So,
all right, the tight end position. Again, I'm gonna pay. I think McBride. There's 3 tight ends I'm recommending this week. But McBride at 5,700, I mean, he's seeing 9 targets per game. He has at least 5 receptions every game this season. He's caught 20 passes just over his last 3. And this Green Bay defense, they're allowing 7.8 receptions per game to opposing tight ends. And tight ends have caught at least 6 passes in every game this season, 8 or more in 3 of them. And then you're getting arguably, or not arguably, he is the most targeted tight end in football and one of the most effective. I don't care if it's Kyler. I don't care if it's Brissett. Right. And I also think Green Bay is going to be up. So it's just a smorgasbord of winning situations. And at 5,700, it's one of those deals like what I've been saying with Ferguson the last few weeks. Where are you going to get that kind of volume at wide receiver? Now, this is one of the rare weeks because of Rashee Rice. I think you will have a receiver in that price. But outside of that, I think McBride's going to get more volume than a lot of guys that are, considerably more expensive for him. So he's going to be in a majority of my lineups. The other guy that I feel really good about is Dallas Goedert, 4,500 in Minnesota. I don't know if people realize this. He's the only Eagles player who is exceeding his draft status this fantasy summer.
I'm not surprised. I am not surprised.
Among tight ends, first in touchdowns, third in both target share receptions, and each of the last 2 games, guess who had the highest first read target among Eagles pass catchers? It was Dallas Goedert. His rate now for the season is almost 23% of first read targets, and he's scoring a touchdown, it seems like, every single week. So those are the 2 guys that I feel really good about. And then just let me mention real quickly Mason Taylor, who, I get it. Like, if you're concerned about the Jets, that's why I don't know if this is really, the best cash game play, but volume is king. And for 3,400, this is a Panthers defense, 37 receptions, 432 yards, 3 touchdowns this season. So they've had issues with tight ends. The Jets were already targeting Taylor 18.6% of their pass attempts, and that was with Garrett Wilson playing. Taylor's 29 targets are 17 more than any Jets wide receiver or tight end not named Garrett Wilson. I want to remind you, he barely played week 1. So until Wilson comes back, insane volume for Taylor. Even if they're only throwing it, say, 20 times a game, he might get 8 to 10 of those targets. So at 3,400 against a Panthers team, again, that's had real issues. I mean, 37%, that's 6 receptions a game, and 432 yards is a lot. So I think he's worth a flyer as well. Is there any tight ends you like other than those 3, or that you're thinking about playing for cash, or are you kind of on the same page?
There is one other guy that I think I would definitely throw in. It's Tucker Kraft. Like that to me has the potential. That's the tight end game. Both because McBride and Kraft are very good. And these are defenses that seem to funnel targets towards tight ends. In fact, they are giving up the 2 most targets to tight ends in the league, the Packers and the Cardinals.
Wow.
And the Cardinals are actually giving up even more yardage than Green Bay is. It's 69 per game. Only Carolina gives up more. So, yeah, Tucker Kraft and the Cardinals defense, look, they've given up a lot of yardage to number 1 wide receivers. Who that is on Green Bay, I still don't really know. Maybe it's Golden now.
Right.
But, against 2s and 3s, they've been pretty good. Against tight ends, again, awful. So this is a week where I think this is as much as the hard part for me is going to be narrowing down what I'm doing, because
I was going to say bully tight end week. Is that what you're saying, Joseph?
Could be a bully tight end week, but again, we named like 3 or 4 wide receivers we feel really good about in those like mid 4, low 4 range. So, because that's normally when I really want to go bully tight end, is when I don't
get the dirt sheet play. Yeah,
but I'm definitely going to be fooling around with some double tight end lineups and seeing where I end up, because
you do think though McBride is like an instant start at that price, right?
I think it's hard not to be, because it's like you said, the times we really want to pay up for tight end is, well, a guy we know is going to get targets in a plus matchup, which this is. But yeah, it's always about, I want to compare what I would get at wide receiver to what I'm getting with that tight end. And because it used to be, that's why Kelsey so often was like automatic play, doesn't matter, because he's $500 cheaper than any wide receiver.
He was like $6K at his most, right? Yeah. And there was a guaranteed like 20 points most weeks.
And then, like you said, Worthy, you could talk me into Worthy over him. And then after that, the under 6 guys, like there's guys who could absolutely do it. Again,
right.
Diggs,
we're just talking about like the volume.
But yeah, the guarantee, no, there's no one outside of, and then even Worthy is kind of, or even Rice is kind of a maybe, just because it's the first week back.
His first game back.
So
that's good.
Yeah, I'm with you. McBride, fire him up, and hey, if you want to still fire up Jake Ferguson, That's not terrible, but with
He's
CeeDee
the
Lamb
one,
back,
though,
I just
again,
don't think I can do
because
it.
of Washington has been much better versus
Better
tight
against-
ends
versus
than they have
receivers.
wide receivers. I just, like,
Yeah.
I do have more concerns about him because he is just, like, his volume has been unreal. Like, you know, I think he actually has more targets than Pickens in the games that Lamb missed. So, let's do defense.
I do think.
Oh, go ahead.
Real quick.
Yeah,
I
of
just
course.
think, again, because we love Washington, Zach Ertz is interesting, and then he is questionable though. So if we don't get Zach Ertz, then
The Ben Sinnott breakout.
Is this our moment finally? Ben Sinnott. Now
Let's
he
hit
and
up
John
Jorge
Bates
and ask him. He's the big.
I was going to say,
Washington fan.
yeah.
Or Joe
He and
Bond,
John
for that
Bates
matter.
have been both kind of splitting at tight end, but I really think Sinhat's capable of more than we've seen so far. So if you really need to save up, because we're throwing Jonathan Taylor and some other expensive guys in there, and Ertz is not out there, then all right, Ben Sinnott could be your time at 2,500.
I love it.
I mean, he has one catch in the year, so
hey,
keep that in mind. But if it happens,
playing the Cowboys, it can all change in a heartbeat.
Right, anything can happen.
The defenses this week, I'm not gonna lie, Joe. I'm making you go first. Who you like? Because I'm having a hard time.
I mean, if we're trying to stick to our normal, let's keep it cheap. Despite what I said about the man defense issues and whatnot, if I'm talking myself into someone cheap, it's gonna be my Giants.
Yes, that's who I have, Joe.
Again, has that pass rush been fully unleashed the way we've really wanted it to? No, we've hit 2 and 3 sacks pretty consistently outside of the Saints game, but haven't been able to get more. Denver's got a good O-line, so
2K agrees with you. He likes it. He likes the G-man.
So there's a reason they're 2,200. It's a pass rush that hasn't fully lived up to what we've wanted. The coverage can be shaky. And the Broncos O-line is one of the better O-lines in the league, but I still just don't totally trust Bo Nix.
I was going to say, Bo Nix has been shaky. 7 turnovers.
That pass rush comes alive, yeah.
Mm-hmm. If they get behind, which the Giants have been able to score points lately, so that is a legit possibility. And they played, I know the Chargers and the Eagles are not, world beaters, but they are still competent offenses, and y'all look great versus Bo. What I saw, Kyler is questionable, not doubtful. Is that right?
I believe that is correct.
Let me double check that for you, buddy.
I don't know that it really changes anything for me, though.
I do like McBride's more with.
You like it more if it's not.
I mean, I like him either way, but I do. I think just Jacoby Brissett. You saw it. That was a season high in targets, and
again, like always, it's if you're someone who is effective over the middle of the field, which every good tight end is, you usually don't want the quarterback who's under 6 feet tall. Like Drew Brees is the only guy I can think of who could who is that 6 foot or under and
Jonathan
really
Gannon,
attack that area.
Vague on Kyler Murray's status, said, "How is his foot injury progressing? Good. He's doing well." Thanks for that update there, Jonathan Gannon. We appreciate that.
Extremely helpful.
I did. I had the Giants as well. The other team that, with the weather, Dolphins, Browns game, Cleveland at 3K to me is
either team is
it is. Miami scares me though again because
I know we've talked about how awful they are over and over and over again.
The run, it's just a run, right? Because I think Cleveland could actually just run it down,
run it 45 times.
I don't think Miami can do that. And the more you're throwing, if it's 30 to friggin' 50 mile an hour winds, the more likely for chaos, right? Because I mean, if you get a side wind, forget about it. And even if it's, you get lucky and it's either into your face or downwind, that's also tough because it's not like Tua has the most strong arm. Like he is more known for accuracy
Oh,
than
absolutely.
he is for, like throwing it down the field. And you gotta have a rocket to throw, particularly into the wind. And then obviously throwing downwind is very difficult to control how far you're throwing it. So but I think
don't
the
like
Giants
either
at
of these
2,200
quarterbacks
are the
that are gonna
play.
win.
Like you rarely get that kind of price. Like again, and he points out what I said. My one concern about fading Achan this week in DFS is
It's just
if the
15
Dolphins end
targets.
up throwing, like he literally could have 15 targets. Like that is
Yeah.
not
It's
an
in the realm,
exaggeration.
for sure.
Because and I need to say too, like as good as the Browns defense has been, against the run, Achan is one of those guys that he's so explosive that all it takes is him, maybe breaking one run and he can have a big game. But again, I think Jukins is the play there. But I just, to me, the dream is always 2,200. And I feel as good about the Giants as I do any team because J.K. Dobbins is all of a sudden not running quite as well, right? And I mean, we've kind of seen this with him before, and I do think that the Giants will be able to get pressure on Bo Nix, who he's not looked as good. It's a tale as old as time where player, especially quarterback, comes in the league, they're very good, and then defenses go, okay, this is what you excel at. We are going to now take that away. Can you beat us another way? And I think that's right now where Nix is at. And me and you both had real concerns about Nix kind of for this coming into the league, that we just felt like he was limited. It wasn't nothing against Nix. He's got a strong arm. Like he's a very intelligent quarterback. He's athletic, but he's limited in what he can do. Like, and as good as Sean Payton is, it seems like defenses have adjusted, and that's why they're struggling. I mean, you take away the last 7 minutes of the Philly game, it's been rough for him, I believe, outside of that Denver game for now a month.
Yeah, I mean, the one bit of cold water I'd throw on there is, like I said, I said the Broncos' offensive line is good. I double-checked just to see what the exact numbers are. PFF, number 1 pass blocking grade.
Woo.
The Denver Broncos. Now, to be fair, the second best is the Eagles. So that didn't turn out so well for Jalen Hurts in the end.
And the Jets got after him, if I'm not mistaken, last week, and the Jets were not one of the better pass rushers.
Now, the two worst pass blocking teams this year have been the Browns and the Dolphins.
Oh, so you are
both
saying.
of them. And the highest graded pass rush has been the Browns. So like you said, if you turn out to have that money, the Browns at 3,000 looks very enticing.
Also, wouldn't you assume it's going to be cold in Cleveland in October if there's 50
and windy,
30, 50 mile an hour winds?
Yeah,
and we
be
know
it's gonna be terrible.
The Dolphins' history in cold weather. So
not great. And then the one in between, I would say, is pick your winner, Panthers Jets. 25 and 2,600.
It's stupid. The only thing that scares me about the Panthers is they have been a completely different team on the road and at home this year. Like they look like almost a playoff contender at home and look awful on the road.
I was going to say defensively, they've looked like a completely different team except when they've played your Falcons.
That's fair too. Rub it in, Joe. But we needed okay?
That game was so weird.
It
still makes no sense,
Joe,
to me.
Because
it makes no sense.
We moved Zach Robinson from the booth onto the field, which is play calling's been
and
very good.
Now you're lighting up the Bills. So
the defense was pissed, even though the defense is yet to give up 200 passing yards in a game, which is insane in the modern NFL.
Not know that.
I don't want to jinx it, but I think the defense is really good. Anything you want to plug before we get out of here? Because, of course, we went an hour and 18 minutes, but that's what we do.
As we're prone to do. I don't think I have anything. I mean, I hope the Dodgers lose.
It's not looking good, buddy.
I mean, World Series. Someone stop them this year.
I was about to be
last year, Last year it was okay. I could live with it. They beat the Yankees. That's the one team probably that I was like, all right, I'll root for the Dodgers. This is good. But please, I want it to be Seattle, but it doesn't matter. Seattle Blue Jays, either one. I'll be thrilled for either fan base.
How big would it be
Please
for
stop the
Seattle
Dodgers.
to win a World Series with them
incredible.
losing the Sonics? And they've been such a loyal fan base to the Mariners who, for you younger people, I'm old. The 90s Mariners were iconic. Like Ken Griffey Jr.,
Yeah.
Randy Johnson, Edgar Martinez, like some of the most
ending
fun
villains
teams ever.
of the I'm blanking on the name of it. The one where the kid ends up managing the Twins.
Yes. Oh my God. Why'd you have to?
What is the name? I can only think of the Cubs one where the kid has the firearm or he throws 100.
Little Big League.
That's it. Yeah, because Rookie of the Year is the Cubs one, and Little Big League. So
Little Big League's a good movie, man.
It's surprisingly both of those movies are surprisingly okay.
Oh, Rookie of the Year is a classic. To me,
right?
That's one of my favorite. Daniel Stern in that movie is throwing 150 miles an hour the entire thing. Excuse me, ladies.
Right, two fun movies, and yeah, the end of that game is Randy Johnson's pitching, and then they hit it deep, and Ken Griffey steals the home run.
Yep.
Yeah, some incredible team, and then they had so many years of Ichiro, and the only time they were successful was his rookie season. So, and then I don't know if you've heard about Have you heard of the story of Humpy the salmon?
No, I have not.
So they have a race. They have one of those races. I think every team has like the 3 mascots that'll race around, or 4 mascots.
Yeah, we had Mr. Freeze.
Right. And then I know the Nationals have like presidents and stuff. And so Seattle has their version of that. And there's one guy who never wins. He's legitimately, I believe he never had won.
He's like the Washington Generals.
Humpy the salmon. Yeah. He's just there to lose. And so they ran the race in that 15-inning game. And the first time they ran it, I don't know, the 6th inning or whatever, and he lost because it's like, all right, he has to lose. And then they were like, fuck it. It's the 5th. It was, in between it was midway through the 15th. And they're like, we're running this race again. And Humpy won, and everyone lost their minds, and then they won the game.
That's amazing.
And so I'm hoping Humpy the Salmon can power Seattle to the World Series victory that we all want to see. Especially, again, still robbed of their NBA team.
Yeah.
So I feel for Seattle. Go get that win, Mariners.
Be awesome. And then, hopefully we have a good week. Again, I just want to, because you brought this up, Joe. Let's get our I believe on the show, right? Was the 6-7? Was it not on the show that you brought?
6-7.
So for those who have not seen South Park this week, Joe Matz brings up 6-7 and how it's like the biggest thing, because I just accidentally said it on the show, and he goes, oh my God, my middle school kids would lose.
It's been ingrained into me.
And I had to ask Joe, I'm like, okay, I need you to explain this to me. And to his credit, he pretty much defined it perfectly, that there is no real definition. It means a gazillion different things. They do this with it, right?
Yeah, they do.
And sure enough, South Park always, the cool kids, the hip kids, they had a huge part of this latest episode was they thought that the kids were part of a cult because they were so into 6-7. Did you see the episode?
It feels
Joe?
like it sometimes. I haven't yet. I have to watch
so
this
good.
one.
They even do like an exorcism spoof with Cartman because he's laughing so hard every time somebody says 6-7.
Oh.
He's throwing up. He makes himself throw up because he's laughing so hard. It's just South Park.
Too real. It's too real.
A million miles an hour. So it's incredible. But thank you, Joe, because literally Brittany looked at me and goes, what's 6-7? I go, you know what? I actually know this because of Joe Matz and, him being a middle school teacher. So we appreciate you guys, as always, hanging out with us. Please check out all the amazing work at fantasy6pack.net. We'd appreciate if you would follow both me and Joe on Twitter. I'm at Keith Flemming, all spelled out. Joe is at Joe Matz with one extra E after, obviously Joe.
And then, Matz.
Yeah, there you go. And then if you're not subscribed to Fantasy Six Pack's YouTube and Spotify channels, we would greatly appreciate it. Also iTunes as well. And we'll see you guys next week. I hope you all have a great one.